How's it going, guys? Aaron with Light to Fire Outdoors, and it's bear season here in Montana. We're super excited to get out there and hit the mountains. But before we do, we got to make sure all of our camera gear is set so we can make sure we bring you guys the action. So today, I'm actually going to show you guys how to set up a Tactacam 5.0 and FTS. And today, we're going to be doing it on our brand new Blackhound Optics 6-24x50 first focal plane MOA. This scope is absolutely awesome. I've got her zeroed right now at 200 yards. You're going to see that video here shortly. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and show you guys how easy it is to set up your Tactacam FTS on your Blackhound optic. Alright guys, so the first thing to setting up a Tactacam FTS is determining the shim size that you actually need for the eyepiece of your scope. When you open your FTS, you're going to get 7 different shim adapters, and actually the one that works on my Vortex Viper scopes that I used to use is a number 6. This one also fits on the Zeiss Conquest V4 that I had, and now the same size adapter, the number 6 version, fits on perfectly for my 6-24x50 Blackhound first focal plane MOA. So I know what shim size I need. I'm going to go ahead and mount this up. To determine your proper shim size, you're going to want to take the shims out and then work with the eyepiece of your scope here. The beveled ridge here needs to go towards the front of the scope. If you slide this on, now this number 6 is actually a little snug, but it's because this Blackhound optic has this ridged focal ring, and that makes it really easy to adjust that focus, which we'll get to in a second. But as far as that goes, I actually take for a Blackhound, this is unique to the Blackhound in my experience, and slide that on all the way over. But this is how this should fit on any other scope that you may have. Now that you've got the right number 6 shim for this scope, you want to also make sure that this gap is facing down. Not as big of a factor with the Blackhound here because it does eliminate some of that light transmission because of those grip marks. But on a normal scope where this would be smaller, the focus ring would be smaller than the shim, you wouldn't want this facing up or sideways or whatever because it allows more light to come into the scope, into the FTS unit itself. So we'll face that down. Now we're ready to actually attach the FTS. Alright. Some things you're going to notice on your Tactacam FTS. You're going to have 2 different slots. The bigger one of the 2 is the one that actually goes over the eyepiece of the scope. The second one, that's a little bit smaller, is designed to house your Tactacam 5.0. I've already mounted mine in here previously. I actually just took this off for this demonstration video. However, the process is the same. So pretend the camera's not there. You've got 3 different screws here and an Allen wrench that came with your Tactacam FTS unit. That's for loosening up the 2 screws. So what we're going to want to do is loosen up the eyepiece side. I like to back them out all the way. This eliminates any hassle issues you may have or you have to undo it anyway. So back those screws out of the way. They're loose. And you can just simply take your FTS. I like to hold the shim here, slide it over. Now your FTS is mounted on. And this is totally customizable, guys. You can actually rotate this all the way around the scope as you see fit for your rifle. Some rifles you're going to have to worry about the bolt throw. This Weatherby's nice, got a real low profile so I don't have to. I can actually run mine straight up and down if I'd like. You can run it sideways. I've got like a 54-degree bolt throw here so I don't have to worry about that with the Weatherby as well, which is also nice. So anyway, I like to run mine basically parallel to the scope. This just allows me to go ahead and run things like I normally am. Plus this is right here where my hand is for the trigger, bolt, button. So super easy. So all you're going to want to do now is simply tighten down those screws that we just loosened up. Alright, and you don't have to get super crazy tight, just enough that this guy isn't going to move and it's not going anywhere. And once I've got it snugged down, I like to go ahead and just give it a little bit more of a turn just to really lock those threads in place. Now this is now part of that rifle scope. It's probably the most secure system I've ever seen on the market for actually mounting a camera to your scope to film through the rifle scope. It's a super sleek, sexy version now, and it becomes part of that scope there, and nothing's in the way. I can fully rack my bolt, throw it if I need to. That's not in the way. It's not in the way of my safety. I can easily get to that, and we're ready to rock, guys. So let's set that camera up now. Alright guys, to set the camera up, this is where we're going to utilize the Tactacam 5.0's Wi-Fi feature. So we're going to go ahead and turn the camera on. Make sure you've got a fresh battery and an SD card in the camera. We're going to pause the camera, And now we're going to go ahead and utilize the mode button here to turn on the Wi-Fi. Just press and hold it down. It takes about 3.5–4 seconds. Alright, so you're going to see that blue light come on. We got the Wi-Fi on now, so now we're going to go to our phone. We're going to connect to the phone's Wi-Fi settings to the Tactacam. Alright, we got Tactacam 5.0. Says connected here, and that light stopped flashing. So now we're connected. Alright, so now we can go to the Tactacam app. The blue checkmark camera, if you've connected before, is going to be the one that's connected. That means this camera here. If you haven't connected a camera previously, you just click add a new camera. It'll recognize your camera and save it for future use. So now our camera is actually going to be live streaming to the phone. This is a super awesome feature because this allows us to take real-time feedback and set up that camera. Okay, so you can see it's live streaming here. Super, super cool. And what we're going to do now is pick a target about 50 yards out. I'm going to point it out here into the backyard, 50 yards. And we're going to set this guy up, set our focus, and get this camera set up. Super easy. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is make sure that our crosshairs are perpendicular and vertical the way that we want them. So we're going to slide our camera into the slot, and you're going to see the crosshairs show up here on the screen. I've got it pointed at a white wall right now. This makes this really easy to make sure you've actually got it set up the way that you want it. So we're going to go ahead, and you can see here that those are a little cockeyed. So I'm going to pivot that camera to get it about where I want it. And you notice here I've actually got my zoom custom set. So let's go ahead and back that out so you guys can see what it looks like. There you go. And so now you can actually get a really good crisp version or vision on those crosshairs. So that's about perfect right there. It's centered in the picture. Tweak it just a hair. Alright, I think that's about good. And now I'm just going to lock down this screw. And you'll notice I'm holding the back of the camera with my other finger. That's making sure that it's fully seated flush inside of the mount. That will help greatly when we go to set the focus. Alright, so I snugged up the camera. Again, nothing super crazy. That mount is extremely secure. You're not going to have to worry about that. We got the crosshairs set. Alright, for the full disclaimer section, for what we're about to do next, the gun will be pointed out into the backyard, and we need to make sure that this gun is totally safe. There is nothing in the magazine chamber down here. That's empty. Nothing's in the chamber. The bolt is pulled back, and it will remain pulled back for the rest of this video, just to make sure nothing could go wrong. Alright guys, so you can see I've got the camera FTS set up on a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit roundabout sign. So it's pretty blurry right now. So this is what we're going to want to do is set the focus so that way we can make sure we have the best crystal clear image when we go to actually shoot videos with the FTS on this bear hunt. Alright, to do this, we're going to need our Allen wrench again. We're actually going to undo these screws here, and that's going to allow us to slip and slide this on and off, because we're going to have to do that to adjust that focus ring. And we're also going to want to make sure that on our blackout here we've got the parallax set to 50 yards. This will actually allow us to make sure that the focus at 50 yards is exactly as crystal clear as everything's going to be when we have to take longer shots and adjust the parallax in the future. 50 yards is how you set that. So let's go ahead and loosen these screws up quick. Now we're ready to start setting the focus. Alright, so there we go. Got the camera loose so we can slide this on and off. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is fully seated forward. We can start moving this in and out. So we already know that the focus needs adjusted a little bit because that sign is blurry here on the phone. So what I'm going to do is pull my FTS unit off. I'm going to just adjust my focus ring in or out a little bit. So as you can see, I've actually got it adjusted all the way in, so the only direction I can go is out. I'm just going to start by doing it like maybe a quarter turn or so. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then we're going to slide this back over here. Alright, so even that little quarter turn is already way better. It's almost perfect. We might be able to get it just a tad bit better. And the nice thing you'll notice about using signs or something else with writing on it is you can really tell that focus, because if you can't even read the sign, it really tells you you're out of focus. And right now I think it's almost perfect. We're going to give it a slight bit more adjustment, and then we'll lock her in because that's very, very close. Let's try that. just about a 1/16 of another turn. Man, and that is about right on the money. We got a good blend of the crosshairs being in focus, and we have that writing the speed limit 15 almost in perfect focus. So I'm going to actually leave it right there. That is very, very good. So now we've got our parallax focus set to 50 yards with the FTS. We're paired up, guys, so anything that we shoot beyond that is going to be totally in sync. Alright, so final time, we got the crosshairs level the way we want them. I'm going to adjust this just a skosh. Alright, and then we are good to lock these screws back down to finalize this setup. Boom, just like that. So there you have it, guys. Even though this video is about 10 minutes long, this FTS 5.0 system takes like 5 minutes to set up. It's extremely simple. Just follow these easy steps that I've outlined here and you're going to get some awesome video through your Blackhound optic or whatever scope you happen to be shooting this year. Like Fire Outdoors, we've switched over to Blackhound. These scopes are absolutely phenomenal and I cannot wait to take my first animal with it. It's bear season again here in Montana, so I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera down and we're going to head out to the field and try to get a bear to put on film for you guys. But in the meantime, go out, check out the Praying and Slaying podcast. And as always, guys, God bless. Thanks for watching.